there you go, they do now.
Yeah? They should talk again.
You dey hear me? You dey hear me well well? I will make a shout. Make a shout.
I be may sing.
Okay, may I sing?
Let's
my
roll. 2 o'clock.
melodious.
1:57. Let's go. 1:57.
It's almost 2. Are you sure you're...
It's almost
I'm going to
1:57 now. Which one is your own?
almost 2, just 1 minute more.
So let's start now.
This one to go back. Which kind of like this? That one they share height and they sleep.
Okay. Oh.
Mr. K, ya equal?
Hello and welcome to another interesting edition of your top sports show on television, Sports Vision 360, right here on Wonderland Television. Well, so much happening in the world of sports. Already the countdown to the AFCON, talking about 2023 AFCON, though it will take place next year in 2024. The date for the draws has been fixed for 12th of October. But then, in terms of seeding of teams for the draws, Nigeria has been placed in pot 2 against all expectations. We've been used to have been to Super Eagles being placed in pot 1 as one of the seeded teams, but this time around they are in pot 2. We shall be exploring the significance of this and what we hope to expect, the kind of group we expect the Super Eagles will be placed in, given the fact that they will now be grouped alongside one of the top teams in Africa. We shall also talk about all the other pots, talking about pot 1, pot 3 and pot 4 to analyze the kind of group that the Super Eagles may end up in. Also, the FIFA rankings have been released and Nigeria has dropped out of the top 5 in Africa. We're now 6th in Africa and of course 39th in the world, and this also despite the significant win over Sao Tome and Principe. I mean, it just meant that all those goals counted for nothing. Not that it counted for nothing, but then not significant enough to make the Super Eagles remain in the top 5 in Africa and of course push them further up in the FIFA rank. We shall be talking about the significance of FIFA rankings. Do they really matter? Is it a matter of FIFA ranking or the quality of the team you have? All this we shall be talking in the course of the show. Also, Germany has moved forward in terms of getting their team ready for the Euro 2024, which they will be hosting. You know, just a few weeks ago, they sacked Hansi Flick, their manager, and they've replaced him now with Julian Nagelsmann, the former coach of RB Leipzig and of course Bayern Munich. 36-year-old coach is reputed for being a very good tactician. We hope he will be able to bring his wealth of experience and tactical acumen to bear in leading the German national team to glory, which is the ultimate, which is what they're looking for to come next year during the Euro 2024. We'll be talking more about that because of the show, and of course doing a complete analysis of all the leagues, talking about the top 5 leagues in Europe as we preview matches for this weekend. We shall look at the leagues in England, in Spain, Italy, Germany and France. I'm not forgetting just a quick wrap up of the performance of Nigerian players in the Europa League matches that we played yesterday. We had some Nigerian players in good form, the likes of Victor Boniface getting among the goal, and of course Tobias Lawal, doing the goalkeeper of Lask of Austria, doing his reputation a lot of good with a good performance against Liverpool. Though they ended up losing 3-1, but they put up a very good performance worthy of note. These are more on the show, so sit back and enjoy yourself. And to talk us through all this today is no other than our usual analyst on the show, Austin Arume. Austin, it's good to have you today.
It's always good to be here. I'm quite excited to be here, and just like I always say, talking sports is my way of life. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, you've heard the rundown and some of the things we'll be discussing. I'm sure that you're ready to fire.
Yeah, definitely ready to fire. I think yesterday as well, Europa League, you talked about Nigerian players' performance. Especially, I was impressed with Tobias Lawal. I think he did a good job, trying to help his team against
Please,
Liverpool.
can you put a pause to that for now? Let's take a break. When we return, we shall go full throttle. And Ostarume will be firing for more cylinders after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Still the Sports Vision 360 right here on WTV, Wonderland Television. We'll start with the Super Eagles and the news that Confederation of African Football CAF has placed the Super Eagles in pot 2 ahead of the draws for the 2023 AFCON build for Cote d'Ivoire in January. A surprising one it was because over the years Nigeria has always been in pot 1, and pot 1 contains the top teams on the continent. And this time around in pot 2, which means there's a tendency that we may be seeded or grouped alongside one of the top teams in Africa. So, Austin, is this a surprise? I thought that, or what could have brought this about? Could it be because the Super Eagles not make it to the World Cup? Because we had a very good qualifiers, talking about the national qualifiers. We lost one match to Guinea-Bissau, but won every other match, home and away. And not even talking about the prevailing of South Africa.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what could have necessitated this action by CAF?
Well, I think if I have to look at it, I don't actually think it's actually about the rankings. When you look at it, because you talk about the Super Eagles not qualifying for the World Cup, you also have to look at Cameroon as well. In pot 2, you have to look at Ghana in pot 2. If you have to put it into perspective, Cameroon also had a good World Cup, even though they got knocked out of the group stage. I mean, it was actually a fantastic.
And they won the Nations Cup not too long ago. That's the previous edition before the last one in Senegal.
Yes. So for me, I feel the reason why we have what we have now, Nigeria being in pot 2, probably is because they had to, take into account, the pedigree of all the teams, playing in the Nations Cup, or what they've been able to achieve in the Nations Cup, your previous results. When you talk about recent winners of the African Cup of Nations, you talk about, Algeria, you talk about Senegal as well, you talk about all these teams. When you look at their performance in recent times, I think you will say that they've done well.
Austin, apart from the last edition in Cameroon, Nigeria got eliminated in the second round.
Yeah,
Nigeria either reached the semi-finals, finished with bronze, or won the last couple of editions.
Yeah,
and if it has to do with pedigree in the African Cup of Nations, I don't see a team like Tunisia actually ranking higher than Nigeria.
Yeah.
Maybe I think this is where CAF needs to come in. No. There needs to be some transparency in there. They just can't just go inside old one secret meeting and come up. No. This has to do with countries, with fans.
Yeah.
And they need to be educated on how these things are done. Because it just like you and I are doing now. Doing mere speculation.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be. There should be indices that are used to judge and determine which team is ranked top and those that are ranked below.
Yeah, I think that's where we have our own way of doing things. When you talk about maybe you're talking about European draw or you're talking about World Cup draw, it's always about there are certain indices. But in this case, we can't actually pinpoint. So to say, I'm only trying to preempt. It's not like justifying what CAF did is actually right, but I'm just trying to preempt. Maybe it's as a result of this or as a result of that. But then you are quite right. You know, when you talk about the performance of the Super Eagles at the Nations Cup, you know, except for the fact that we didn't actually qualify for the last World Cup, we've always done well at you know, African Cup of Nations. But it's actually quite surprising to see that the Super Eagles is not in pot one, which is where all the top teams should be.
Let's look at this pot two now.
Yeah.
If you look at pot two, apart from the Super Eagles, there's Cameroon, there's Ghana.
Yeah.
So talking about pedigree in the Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
Which countries have better pedigree than these countries? Then we're also looking at the likes of Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Burkina Faso and Mali. Then let's take a look at the pot one now. The pot one, the so-called pot one, full of the top teams.
Yeah.
Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, Tunisia. Apart from Senegal and Morocco, presently,
Yeah.
some of these teams in pot one cannot even measure up against it. Some teams in pot two. That's on paper though.
Yeah.
So as I said, you know, the yardstick and modalities for doing these things need to be clearer. I'm looking at pot one now. Those are the teams, and they comprise of the top 5 teams in Africa rankings, and Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Morocco, Algeria. It's expected that the winners of the competition should come from this group. Do you see that as a likely situation?
Well, just like you said, when you look at pot one, the strongest teams I see there: Senegal, Morocco. When you look at teams like Tunisia, Cote d'Ivoire, Algeria, they've, you know, struggled of late. They've not really.
Cote d'Ivoire, they are hosted now, so
I'm just talking about the setup. When you look at the teams there now, you look at Morocco and Senegal. Now, probably maybe because of Salah, you can say, okay, Egypt, that you consider to be a three can.
Because if you have to be frank to ourselves, apart from Egypt, apart from Salah, sorry, which other player is doing well in the Sham national team? Though again, it's not about individuals, it's about a team.
Yeah.
A close, a neatly welded set of players playing in unison.
Yeah.
That's what makes up a good team. So, agreed. It may not be about individual players.
Yeah.
But then if we have to look at the quality of players available, apart from Salah, does Egypt really offer much?
I don't think there's actually any other player you can actually equate with Salah in that Egyptian national team. But again, when you look at the Egyptian national team, one thing they've been able to do is dominate this championship even with little known players. So because of that, you have to actually bring them into the equation.
Okay, quickly, let's go to part 3. South Africa, Cape Verde, Guinea, Zambia, Equatorial Guinea, and Mauritania. And these are teams that are supposed to be lower in the rankings in terms of Africa and the world, actually. So, fine, you cannot actually question why some of these teams are in that group, because you could actually see why they are there. These are not the top football playing nations in Africa, apart from South Africa there, and
probably Zambia.
Zambia has won the Nations Cup in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm among this group, assuming now we're looking at these groups now, Nigeria definitely will have to contend with either of the teams in Group 1 and Pot 1. But from the teams in Pot 3, who do you think? Because if you have one strong team from the Pot 1, we should look for a team that is not as strong in Pot 3, so that at least we can balance it. Which of these teams do you think we want to be with Nigeria in the group?
Well, when you look at these teams, you look at Mauritania, look at Equatorial Guinea. I think,
but I'm surprised that Mauritania is even there because I heard in Pot 4.
You look at these two teams. I think, and we can beat anybody from this particular group. If you're talking about strength now, trying to target the weak teams, I think I'll go with Mauritania, Equatorial Guinea, and Cape Verde.
Definitely not South Africa and Zambia. Fine, not as people can't beat them, but you're definitely going to sweat. Those are top teams in their own right as well. So all the teams there are top teams in their own right. Just that everybody cannot be ranked the same. So they have to be a way of classification. In Pot 4, Guinea-Bissau, I'm surprised, Namibia, Mozambique, Angola, Gambia, and Tanzania. I'm surprised that Guinea-Bissau Remember beat us in Abuja.
Yes.
Although we went back to revenge, beat them 1-0, but that shows that they have a very good team.
Yeah.
And the likes of Angola that have played in the World Cup before,
Yeah.
even in Pot 4, and Tanzania as well. Gambia is not doing badly in recent times.
Yeah.
So in addition to the teams in Group 3 that you want to be in Nigeria's group, which of these would you want to be grouped along with Super Eagles?
Well, I'll go with either Tanzania or Mozambique. If you are targeting the weak ones, actually, you talked about Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau has shown that, they can actually.
You don't want them again.
I don't want them again. Let's avoid them for now. They have shown that they can actually beat the Super Eagles. They even came here, right here in Abuja, to actually pick up that 3 points. So I will say, the Tanzania team and the what's it called?
I said Gambia, right? Mozambique.
Mozambique, yes. Tanzania or Mozambique. I'm okay with either of them.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. This is a game of permutations,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, the draws will be made, and whoever you are grouped with, you have no choice but to play with them. Now, we've been talking about what the criteria or yardstick for actually selecting these players, these teams that are in these different pots is. But then, if we have to look at it, one way of selection that we know, that we all are aware of, is the ranking,
Yeah.
FIFA ranking. Though it's not the only yardstick used, but the FIFA ranking has come to stay, and it's been used in a number of competitions to actually demarcate or classify teams based on their strength. Recent FIFA rankings have been released, and the recent one saw Nigeria actually move a step backward. They were 5th in Africa for a long time. We've now moved backward to 6th in Africa, and in the world, number 39 in the world. So the likes of Morocco and Senegal still lead the ranking in Africa, and Tunisia, Egypt, Algeria all form the top 5 now, mostly all North African teams. Well, does it really matter? Is this an indication that Nigeria will not be in contention for the Nations Cup if we're not among the top 5 teams in Africa? So what's the significance of this FIFA rankings in any way?
Well, when it comes to the FIFA ranking, it doesn't actually mean that those teams that are not in the top 5 or so, or those teams that are not in pot 1, as far as the draw for the African Cup of Nations is concerned, will not have that what's it called now, that tag, so to say, to win the championship. We talk about the pedigree of these clubs, these countries. Talk about the pedigree of Nigeria, Cameroon, Mali, even Ghana as well. These teams over the years have proven their strength when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. So when you look at the situation right here, even Morocco, that are number 1, they are not even sure as to whether they'll be the eventual winner of. They have a strong team, no doubt, but when you're talking about a championship like this, it's not just about having the players, it's all about what you can do with the players that you have, which is what I was stressing about Egypt earlier. You remember how they dominated the African Nations Championship for a period, before there were changes, and started seeing other teams win as well. So it's all about what you can do with the squad that you have.
And talking about the squad that we have, does Nigeria really have the squad? We talked about winning Nations Cup. Do we really have the squad to win the Nations Cup? Because now I understand that CAF has given the deadline for January 3 for every country to submit their list of 23 players for the Nations Cup. So Coach Pesaro should be working around the clock to select his team. Looking at the area of players Nigeria has, do you think that we have what it takes in terms of quality to, first and foremost, it's not about having these players, I want to say, it's about bringing them together into a unit. So do you see us being able to get the right mix of the 23 that will do us proud in Cote d'Ivoire?
Well, I think we have what it takes in terms of the players available to the coach to actually go as far as winning it. And if you have to take into account what the coach himself said, when he was appointed, when he was given the appointment, he said he's actually here to win the African Cup of Nations, and the opportunity just presented itself before him right now. We'll just give him that benefit of doubt. We just have to look at Coach Randy Wardrum, the Super Falcons coach, who, despite all the hurdles along the way, the African Women Championship, we saw what he did at the World Cup. Probably, let's give Coach Jose Peseiro that benefit of doubt if he can actually, put these guys together and do something unthinkable. It's not unthinkable. I know it's something that the team can actually achieve. It's all about blending the team together and getting that result.
Okay, now looking at the Super Eagles team now, nobody is sure of a place in that team.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Though we know that some people, there are some players that you cannot drop.
Yeah.
You know them. You know them. So, but you always tell you that nobody's place is assured.
Yeah.
But then, who are those players that you think, come watch me, bearing any injury,
Yeah.
they should be in the Super Eagles team?
Well,
few of them.
the number one name that comes to mind is Victor Osimhen. That's, if you call anybody, even if the person is not a coach, you say.
What if he just suddenly goes off from between now and then? Because last three matches he has not scored.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Football is not about,
because we have options.
yeah, we have options. Football is not about goals most of the time. It's all about what you do on the pitch. Sometimes a striker might not score, but then his impact on the field.
Like he did against Braga. He didn't
Yes.
score, but he won the man of the match.
Yeah, so I think if he can actually play up to that level, even if he's not scoring like he did last season, I'm very, very sure that he'll be such an important player for the Super Eagles at the African Nations Cup.
So which other player are we looking at?
Well, we're looking at the likes of, Chukwueze.
Okay, let's do it like this.
From defense.
From the goalkeeper, which one do you think among the goalkeepers should be?
Well, for now, the one position that I can't actually pinpoint who is doing better is that goalkeeping position. When you look at it, Francis Ozoho has been called on a couple of times, and sometimes you see it ending in disappointment. We had some other players that
So
were called
who do
into
you think should stay? That's a question, not as in analyze the different goalkeepers.
Okay,
Which of them do you think?
I think I'll go with is it Adeleke or so?
He should be in the team.
He should be in the team.
And he should be. That means you expect him to be number one.
I expect him to be number one. I expect him to be number one.
That's a big call. Somebody that's going to the team.
Yeah.
In the defense, what do you think should be there?
Well,
The central defense.
Central defense. You look at Simi Ajayi. Simi Ajayi. Look at probably.
I just said one.
Just one.
Just one.
Okay. Okay. In defense, Simi Ajayi.
Yeah.
Then at left back, we should have Zaidu Sanusi. Right back, we should have Ola Aina. Ola Aina is doing well, for his
Remember
Nottingham
there's
Forest.
Bright Said Samuel.
Yeah, there's
Played
Bright
very
as
well for Fenerbahce.
yes.
He played yesterday in the Europa League.
Yes, he played yesterday in the Europa League, but then I'll say when you look at the way Ola Aina is playing right now, he's not playing badly, and he's playing in the English Premier League as well. So I believe he should take the position.
Midfield?
And in midfield, Wilfred Ndidi,
Attacking midfield or defensive midfield?
I think for now you have to stick to what we know him for, the defensive midfield.
Okay.
And then attacking midfield, Iwobi.
Okay. What about the right side of attack?
The right side of attack, I think it's actually quite difficult, because of Samuel Chukwueze. And when you look at the array of strikers that we have right now, it depends on what the coach is trying to do or how he intends to play. Because you have,
I was going to say something. There's a guy called Nathan Teller that recently joined Leverkusen for Southampton.
Yeah.
He played yesterday in the Europa League.
Yeah.
He's a very good player, and he's been itching to play for the Super Eagles, and got in this opportunity to play in the German Bundesliga and play European competition. There's no better time for us to have that guy around.
Yeah.
At least, if not for anything, give Chukwueze a competition on the right side of the attack.
Yeah.
I think there's one player that I want the Super Eagles. We're talking about strikers, Gift Orban, Boniface, all the strikers scoring goals. This guy is a very good creative player.
Yeah.
He played for Burnley on loan last season. He scored and created a lot of goals for Burnley to get promotion.
Yeah.
So, and this season he started very well. Played the first 2 matches for Southampton before he moved to Leverkusen. So, and he's there doing very well as well.
Yeah.
So, talking about outsiders now. Then we've already talked about Osimhen as the main striker. Then left side of attack.
Left side of attack, I think it's also very difficult as well. I think
Lookman is there.
Lookman is there, and
Moses Simon is there.
yes, Moses Simon is there as well. So it all depends on what the coach
I'll just
wants to do.
putting you on the spot. I don't expect you to give us the list of Super Eagles that will go to the Nations Cup. Because they're not Coach Pizarro.
Yeah.
But I just know that somehow there are 1 or 2 players that we know that they are doing very well. They've been part of the team for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's a way you read the mindset of a coach. There are some players that he has stuck with. He has never dropped them. And even if they're not doing very, very well.
Yeah.
So you know that these players, the coach has a kind of liking for them.
Yeah.
And and his plan seems to fit in with the way the players play. So these are the players that have been loyal and has been loyal to them as well.
Yeah.
So, but again, it was just about permutations, and I know that the weeks leading up to the announcement of the list come January, there will be a lot of speculations. Again, it all depends on who is fit, who is not injured, who is playing regularly. All these things will come to play in terms of making the final decision. What we only hope is that Coach Pizarro is not put under undue pressure for him to compromise in standard and quality.
Yeah.
Let him select the best. The best 23 should be able to go to Cote d'Ivoire to represent Nigeria at the Nations Cup. So that's it so much about the FIFA ranking and of course the Nations Cup list. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll take a look at what happened in the Europa League yesterday as it concerns some Nigerian players that actually did very well for their clubs. Talking about the likes of Victor Boniface, who scored for Leverkusen against BK Aken of Sweden. Shall talk more about that after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Still the Sports Vision 360 right here on Wonderland Television, WTV. Next, we'll look at the Europa League and Conference League somehow. The matches that we played yesterday. So many of them, 32 Europa League matches, and somehow it's difficult to keep close tabs on what transpired in all the matches. So we limited ourselves to the Super Eagles, to Nigerian players, not just the Super Eagles players, but Nigerian players, both those that play for Super Eagles and those that are in line to play for Super Eagles, and even players that are playing for other countries of Nigerian nationality. We shall be talking about their exploits. And the first person that comes to mind following his superlative performance is Victor Boniface. Boniface once again scored for Bayern Leverkusen as they beat BK Aken of Sweden by 4-0. These guys, Bayern Leverkusen, are in odd form. They've been beating teams black and blue since the league started, and once again Victor Boniface scored and also had an assist in that match. Good one for Victor Boniface. 6 goals in all competition this season, 3 assists. So goal involvement so far in 6 matches is 9 for Victor Boniface.
Yeah,
prolific.
I think it's actually a good one. You know, knowing fully well that this is 4th season with the team, and the way he's playing is like he's been there for ages. It's like, you know, this guy has been with the team for long, and I'm so happy for him right now. You know, scoring from different angles, scoring different types of goals. You know, it shows that he's a very, very good striker. We hope that he can actually continue to keep this form going, because when you're talking about strikers are in form in Europe now, not just Nigerian strikers. Put all the strikers together. He's one of those names that that comes to mind, and I believe that if he continues like this, it's only a matter of time. We know that big clubs will actually come calling for Victor Boniface. Good job he's done so far for Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, because there's always a problem when a player changes club.
Yeah.
If you go there and somehow you're not able to align yourself with philosophy of the coach, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Why his own case is even good, I'm sure Leverkusen knew what they were doing, because they played against St. Gallows in the Euro Conference League last year, where he made a match top scorer, and they had a close assessment of him. They saw what he could do, and they made up their points. So going for him, it wasn't like a gamble. They actually knew what they wanted. They had seen the quality, and it fits in with what they wanted in a striker, and they went for him. And that's why it's like the template was there. They saw that it fitted in. As he came in, he just fitted in seamlessly. Also, credit to coach
Xabi Alonso.
Xabi Alonso, former Liverpool player, former Real Madrid player, former Bayern Munich player, who has done so well as coach of Leverkusen for bringing the best out of this guy. 9 goals in 6 matches, 9 goal involvement, 6 goals and 3 assists. A very good one for a Nigerian, for that matter.
Yeah, I think what the job that Alonso has done with Boniface, bringing him in, and the way that he was integrated into the team, just like I said earlier, it seems like, he's been in the team for long. It's not every time that you see such a scenario, and if we see one, we must actually commend everybody involved, commend the management of Bayer Leverkusen as well for actually, being able to identify that there is something this guy has that can actually, blend with our team, and we're already seeing the result.
But everything just seems to be working out for Leverkusen. In the top 5 leagues in Europe, they have scored the most goals this season, 25 goals. So they are firing on all cylinders, and it's not surprised that Victor Boniface is scoring a lot of goals. Like the way they play, the system they play, helps them to score, create chances for them to score. I'm not just forgetting the other Nigerian player that played yesterday, Nathan Teller. So tell me, at this rate, you just mentioned people that will be sure of going to the Nations Cup. How can you this kind of play out of the Nations Cup? It's impossible. But if you continue in this vein of form, it's not possible at all. Well, the other player that played in Europa Cup yesterday was Tobias Lawal for Flask of Austria. Nigerians may not know too much about him because he has not played for Nigeria. He has actually played for the Austrian under 15, I think under 21 teams. So he has his eyes set on Austria. But he actually came to Nigerian camp. He was invited some time ago. He was in camp of Super Eagles. Then he had not broken into the first team of LASK. But now that he has broken into the first team of LASK, he's a big boy now. So I don't know what his plans are. He has not said anything, but maybe he has his eyes set on the Austrian national team #1 jersey. But then again, this is another option for Nigeria. Should he decide to play for Nigeria? He had a very good game against Liverpool yesterday. They lost 3-1 to Liverpool. Obviously, the quality difference was there. But then it could have been more, but for Tobias Lawal.
Yeah, definitely. I think I agree with you. If he's available, I think he should be given that opportunity. If you look at that team, what they've done over the years, trying to maintain that momentum. You look at, this is actually a team with ambition. Look at the ambition that they have, and they're trying to do everything to match that ambition. Look at even the stadium that they built recently. It was commissioned, I think, February this year. You look at what the club is trying to do. I think it's a good one that we have Tobias Lawal as breaking into that team as #1, and just to actually buttress the importance of Tobias Lawal to LASK yesterday. I think he was superb, especially in the first half. He was quite instrumental as to why LASK were able to go into the break with that 1-0 lead, and for me, I think he deserves credit for such a superb performance yesterday.
And of course, talking about goalkeepers, sorry for me to talk, sorry, I'm digressing a bit.
Yeah.
We don't lack quality goalkeepers,
Yeah.
but then is the problem is many of them are not willing to commit to Nigeria yet.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about Maduka Okoye is there
Yeah.
playing in Udinese. He's already a Nigerian international, but then he's lacked game time in recent times. But he's not actually out of the picture in Super. In fact, many people still feel that we end up being the #1 at the Nations Cup.
Yeah.
And of course, we just talked about Tobias Lawa
Yeah.
and the Okoronkwo Arsenal player that is now on loan at Wrexham in League Two
Yeah.
in in England, doing very well there.
Yeah.
And of course, we have Atubolu, the Freiburg Bundesliga,
Yeah.
the #1 goalkeeper at Freiburg,
Yeah.
Atubolu. So many of them. We have Osigwe in Switzerland, Lugano.
Yeah.
That one has been crying since that. We invited him once. We have the ones that are ready to play. We're not inviting them. The ones that are not ready to play are actually not yet ready to commit to us. So in actual fact, we have these players, but then we need to be able to put ourselves in order so that we can attract them, come and play for the Super Eagles. Just imagine all these players are available for selection for Super Eagles. That would be really good.
Very, very good. Very, very good, if you ask me. I think the problem we've had over the years, when you talk about Super Eagles, more especially in recent times, is the goalkeeping department. There are times where you see the judgment of our goalkeeper. I don't want to, start, calling out names, but we've seen them. So I think if we have more of these guys coming in, I think it will be more of a challenge to put everybody on their toes, and that way the Super Eagles would actually be the one to benefit, for this immense pool of talent that we have.
There was also Igor Ogbu in action yesterday for Slavia Prague, and he scored as they beat Swiss side Servette 2-0 away from home. Igor Ogbu is a central defender, used to play for Lillestrøm. He was, I think, captain for the 20 when they went for the under 20 championship, won by Ukraine. And that Flying Eagles team got to the second round and were beaten by Senegal. But it was a mainstay in the defense of that team. And then I think he was playing for Lillestrøm, but he has since moved to Slavia Prague. And he has scored 2 goals this season already for Slavia Prague, and it's a very big one for him. He was in the frame to be invited to the Super Eagles team in the last match. It was one of those names that they said was included. So I don't know, somehow he didn't make the final cut at the end of the day. But then it shows that it's in the mind of the coaches. So who knows? Nations Cup, he may just get crushed and find his way in the team because he's playing very well. Central defender, we don't have too much of quality central defenders. I'm not taking anything away from the ones we have now, but could do with more, they say the more the merrier. Stiffer competitions will bring out the best in all the players. For if a player plays central defense for a top European team like Slavia Prague, and they play in European competitions and is doing very well and even scoring, I think he should be given a look in.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at, the defense, just like you said, we need more hands. You look at the quality as well. Yes, especially in central. You talk about what we have now. If we can add this guy to the number of centre backs that we have now, I think it will be a good one. You look at also the fact that he can score. I think it's a plus for him. I don't think we have too many defenders, who can actually manage to score while trying to keep things tight at the back right now. So the fact that he can also score, for me, is actually a very good quality to have.
Yes, so these were the 3 players that stood out amongst Nigerian players in Europa League last night. There was also Bright Osai Samuel that featured for Fenerbahce. He played right fullback. There was also Ademola Lookman played for Atlanta yesterday. Arogudare played for Gent, and I think their match ended 2-2. And of course, Genk did not have our own Gift Urban in action. I think it's nursing an injury. Probably that injury is sustained when he came to play for the Super Eagles. He's still there. So he could not play in that match yesterday for Europa League match for his side yesterday. So We'll continue to keep tabs on Nigerian players as they perform with their teams in Europe whenever we have European nights right here on Sports Vision 360. Before we take a short break, let's quickly talk about this. Julian Nagelsmann has been appointed as a coach of the German national team. If you may recall, some few weeks ago, Hansi Flick was sacked as coach of the team after they lost scandalously to Japan. And in the friendly match that followed immediately, Rudi Völler, the technical director of the German FA, took charge and they beat France 2-1. So, but now they've gotten a substantive coach in the person of Julian Nagelsmann, who was former coach of RB Leipzig. He did very well with the team. Yeah. Of course, Bayern Munich won the league with Bayern Munich. 36-year-old, young but very vibrant.
Very, very, very vibrant. But I mean, this is actually a national team. You know, coaching at club level is quite different from, you know, coaching at national team. I think it's actually, for me, is a gamble from the German FA. You know, still very young. He's not actually handled any national team before, and for a country that is preparing for a major championship like the Euro, I think it's actually a gamble. Let's see if this gamble will eventually.
That's less than a year to break the team.
Yeah, so let's see if this gamble will, you know, pay off. It all depends on, you know, what
I guess the DFB, talking about the German Federation, were actually left with no choice after their number one choice, Jurgen Klopp, actually pledged his allegiance to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And they were running out of time actually, and the options available were not much. So, and Julian Nagelsmann is out of job at the moment.
Oh.
And fine, an easy pick for me if you ask me. It's not a bad coach if you ask me, but I'm just worried about the time frame he has to build up this team into the kind of team that will actually challenge for Euro 2024 trophy.
Yeah, I think for me, it's not even about, not just about the experience. You talk about also, you talk about the time frame. For me personally, I would have been, I would have advocated for, you know, Vola to be, you know, given that appointment, owing to the fact that he's someone that, you know, has handled this position before. He's been there, working behind the scenes. So if you have someone like that available and you are preparing for a major championship like this, I believe that, you know, you should have given that, you know, that person a try. That, which is why I said.
But is Vola ready for the job? You know, it's not like here when the technical director, you all lines by Eagles job. When you become technical director, you have moved a step higher, and you don't want to come down again.
Yeah.
So I think it was an ad hoc situation that he handled the team last time. I think it's more concentrated on his technical director. He's been there, like you said, took them to the finals of the 2002 World Cup. So in 2023, wanted to come back on the job.
Yeah.
Well, you never can tell. Anyway, talking about changing of coaches, Julian Nagelsmann is back on the saddle. Even in Africa, Zimbabwe are one of our opponents in the World Cup qualifiers. They also have appointed a coach. So they are preparing for us. And you know what they did? They went and appointed a Portuguese.
Yeah.
Brito, they call him.
Yeah.
It's a Brazilian-born Baltimore Brito. So they want to utilize Super Eagles in every respect. Come with a Portuguese coach, become the Portuguese coach. You come with a Portuguese coach that worked with Mourinho. Come with another one, because Brito to work with Mourinho. All through his team, Porto and Chelsea. One of the assistant coaches of Chelsea, working with Mourinho. Pizarro too has worked with Mourinho at Real Madrid and Porto. Yeah. So these two coaches have worked with Mourinho. So if you are bringing Mourinho's style, he will counter it. So Zimbabwe, they are ready for Nigeria.
I don't think it actually works that way. If you like, go and appoint Jose Mourinho instead. It might not actually make much difference, you know, if the coach is not actually ready to work his socks off. Because when you're coming to,
for him to work with Mourinho for that long, so that he has something, some good stuff to offer.
Yeah, definitely, he should have something to offer. But then we're talking about the Super Eagles here. The Super Eagles, no disrespect, and Zimbabwe, they are not actually in the same class. You know, for me.
Anyway, let's keep our fingers crossed. In football, there's no respecter of names when it comes to if you don't prepare, you get beaten. That's just what happens in football.
Yeah.
So let's not say because Super Eagles. If we don't get ready for Zimbabwe and Zimbabwe prepares for us, then we could just as well be talking about a different story. Anyway, that's just by the wayside. For now, we'll go on that short break I talked about, and when we return, we'll do a review of a preview, sorry, of the league matches coming up across different leagues in Europe, precisely the top 5 leagues in Europe, talking about England, Spain, Italy, Germany, and France. Stay with us. Welcome back. Still Sport Vision 360 right here on WTV. Next, the review of the league. We're looking at the top 5 leagues in Europe. Quick one. We start with the EPL and matches for tomorrow. I think take our top pick.
Yeah.
For me, the top pick is for Sunday. Arsenal, Tottenham.
Yeah.
London derby. That's a big one.
Yeah, London derby, with the difference. Why I said it's a London derby with the difference, because when you look at the performance of, both teams going into this round, you talk about Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur being in the, top 4. It's going to be an interesting one for these two teams, because this is actually, we've not witnessed the derby in this light because of how both teams have performed this season. Both teams are in form, and we're looking forward to this particular game. Arsenal especially, tried their best last season, came second, and they'll feel like they have the chance of going further this season by winning the English Premier League. So this is a big test for them. If they are serious about winning the league, this is one match that they have to win.
They talk about tests now. This should be more of a big test for Tottenham, because Ange Postecoglou, I hope I pronounce it very well.
Yeah.
They've not really met any big team this season. Arsenal have already beaten Manchester United. Give them that credit.
Yeah.
They've beaten the top 6 team already. But Tottenham have not had that privilege. So it's an opportunity for them to make a statement of their intention this season in this match against Arsenal. So for me, I'm looking more at how Tottenham will perform in the match on Sunday.
Yeah.
And for me, Arsenal have already shown that they are serious. Their victory over Manchester United just send the message that these guys are building on from last season.
Yeah.
For Tottenham, I'm still yet to be convinced.
Well, for me, why I look at it like that is the fact that, coming into the season, not many people will predict that Tottenham Hotspur will be
That's why
at this level.
It's now time for them to prove to us that they are serious. Anyway, quickly away from there, Manchester United don't have any best of times.
Yeah.
They've lost matches back to back. It's Brighton the league and then Miami the Champions League.
Yeah.
They play against Burnley and they're playing away.
Well, it's an opportunity for them to bounce back, if you ask me. But then again, if you have to take Burnley as well will be looking to get something off this game, because they are one of those teams that are yet to pick maximum points as far as this season is concerned. They are bottom of the table.
Second from bottom.
So you look at this particular match, it's going to be very difficult for Manchester United. But then they have to pick themselves. They have to pick the team up. They must win this particular game, because we look at the number of games they've played recently from Arsenal. I think they lost against Arsenal, lost against Brighton, again lost in the midweek against Bayern. So successive losses for Manchester United. So it's not going to be a good one for them to even drop any point in this particular game.
Manchester City will take on Nottingham Forest. That should be a walk in the park for City. That should be a walk in the park for City.
Yeah, on paper, it should be a walk in the park for Manchester City, considering what they've done this season. But then it's not going to be that easy, when you consider Nottingham Forest as well. The way they started the season, they don't give up easily. If you watch their last game against Burnley, they went behind, and just when it looks like that's it for them, they're able to bounce back and get something from that particular game. So if everything goes right, we expect City to win in this particular encounter.
In other fixtures, Crystal Palace will play against Fulham. That's another London derby.
Yeah.
Luton will host Wolves. Brentford will be at home to Everton after that slim loss to Newcastle last time out. Brighton will want to build on momentum following the victory over United as they host Bournemouth. Chelsea will entertain Aston Villa, hoping for a victory this time around. Liverpool and West Ham will slug it out, while Sheffield Wednesday will host Newcastle United. So that's how it stands presently. Those are the fixtures this weekend in Premiership. Move straight to the Spanish La Liga. And La Liga, we have some interesting matches. Barcelona will be at home to Celta Vigo. That will be on Saturday. Barcelona did very well in the European Champions League, UEFA Champions League.
Yeah.
They beat Real Antwerp 5-0. And me, I'm of the opinion that they are more focused on the UEFA Champions League. But that's one trophy that Xavi has not won.
Yeah.
And they want to win. He won the league last year. I'm not saying that if they have the opportunity to win the league, they will not. But something just tells me that the guy is focused on winning the Champions League, given the kind of recruitment he made and stuff. But then their form in the league has not been too bad as well.
Yeah.
They've won all their matches, apart from the first match that they drew, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And but since then they've picked up. And that is why they are second on the table.
Yeah.
So they play against Celta Vigo. Celta Vigo not having the best of time. Rafael Benitez back to Spanish league.
Yeah.
And Celta Vigo have not actually started very well. But is this an opportunity for Celta Vigo for Benitez to make a point by getting a good result against Barcelona?
Well, I think it's an opportunity for him. For Celta Vigo, it's been pretty much the same for them in the last 3 or 4 seasons. If you look at how they start the season and how they finish, it's always a very slow start for them, and they've always finished so strong. Probably this season might be different, but then against Barcelona, team that is in form right now, scoring goals from all angles, I think it's going to be a difficult one for Celta Vigo.
Okay, but the pick of the pack in La Liga this weekend, no doubt.
Yeah.
Madrid derby.
Yeah.
Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
This is at the Wanda Metropolitano.
Yeah.
So this is a big one.
Well, yeah, it's a big one, considering Madrid are on top of the table right now. Maximum
and
points.
Atletico are not doing very well.
And
they lost 3-0 last week, so
yes.
they want to bounce back.
Yeah, they want to bounce back, but for me, I feel it's going to be a difficult game for both sides. When you look at how Real Madrid have played this season, you look at the fact that they don't have a point man. They've always depended on one of these guys, Joe Bellingham, to score and do his magic. And I feel like if they don't get someone that can actually score goals, they might struggle in the later part of this season. But then for this game, it's going to be a very, very difficult one. So I'm predicting Real Madrid might drop points in this particular game.
That's what I'm going to say. I see Madrid dropping their first point this season.
Yeah.
Because they've been used to scoring late goals.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid is not one of those teams that gives away goals.
Yeah.
And this could be a difficult one for them. But then we'll keep our fingers crossed. Other matches: Deportivo Alaves, Athletic Club Bilbao, and of course Girona, who have been the surprise team of the season so far. They occupy the third position on the La Liga table. Girona, 13 points. They will be hosting Real Mallorca. Osasuna will host Sevilla, and Maria, who are bottom of the table, will play against Valencia, who are still riding high from the 3-0 spanking of Atletico Madrid last weekend. Real Sociedad will want to get their season up and running as they host Getafe, Rayo Vallecano versus Villarreal. Real Betis will be up against Cadiz. Las Palmas will host Granada. And of course, the big one, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid. Quickly, let's go over to Serie A. In Serie A this weekend, I think for me, the top pick actually, none of the big teams actually paired against each other this week. But then Inter Milan want to continue the red vein of form. We saw them beat AC Milan 5-1 last week. And they'll be up against Empoli.
Yeah.
Empoli are bottom of the table. They've not gotten 1 point this season.
Yeah.
So they are hosting an Inter Milan team that's in top form. Is this an easy one for Inter?
Well, it's not going to be that easy for Inter, though they have all the advantage going for them. That 5-1 win over AC Milan, is still ringing in the area, and I'm sure that they'll be coming into this match, brimming with confidence. So I'll go with a slim win for Inter. It's not going to be as much as what we saw with AC Milan.
Napoli defending champions. They've not won in the last 2 matches.
Yeah.
They lost to Lazio and they forced Genoa to a 2-2 draw last time. So they are in need of a win.
Yeah.
At least coach Rudy Garcia needs that confidence back in the tide.
Yeah.
And they are away this time around to Bologna. How do you see it?
Well, I think it's an opportunity for them to bounce back. But then this is Bologna playing at home this time. We know how stubborn that they can be sometimes, and against Napoli that are not actually playing so well. It's going to be a difficult one. I still see them probably struggling in this particular match against Bologna. Maybe a 1-0 win for Napoli.
AC Milan, they don't have any choice.
Yeah.
They must win this time around.
Yeah.
If Eds will not roll. They host Hellas Verona at the San Siro.
Well, I think from what we saw in midweek, AC played so against Newcastle, like a team with intent. And if they can bring that to this game, I'm sure that it will be a win for AC Milan in this game.
Well, in other matches, we see Sassuolo taking on Juventus. We have Lecce, who are also doing very well in the league. They are occupying the 4th position in the league.
Yeah.
I think they were playing against Monza. Sassuolo will host Juventus, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Atlanta against Cagliari. Just a few of the fixtures. Quickly, because we don't have time on the side.
Yeah.
We have the German Bundesliga, and the top pick for this weekend. None of the big teams meeting themselves, but I can't help but talk about Bayern Leverkusen.
Yeah.
They're in good form.
Yeah.
They host NDM. NDM, another big news team. Maybe they came from the Bundesliga too.
Yeah.
Promotion this season, because I never heard of them in the top division.
Yeah.
So probably I'm sure they gained promotion last season. So Leverkusen will host them. A team that has scored 25 goals in the first 6 matches of the league.
Yeah.
The top scoring team in the whole of Europe. Talking about top 5 leagues in Europe.
Yeah.
And then they host this team. What do you see another goal rush for Leverkusen?
Well, I don't see it that way, because when you look at this Anaheim team, last weekend they had a fantastic result against Werder Bremen. The Werder Bremen team, that are season campaigners in the German Bundesliga. And when you are playing this particular team, if you are Leverkusen, you have to be very, very, very wary of this team.
So you see a very difficult match.
Yes, it's going to be a difficult match.
We don't have much time. I'm sure that we would have loved to talk about these matches, to tell you more what to expect from these matches. So the graphics are on the screen already, although they have been taken down, but then you saw them. Those are the matches for this weekend in the German Bundesliga. We have talked about all of them, save for the friendly one. No time to talk about friendly one, but just know that this weekend, Nantes will want to build on the 1-0 win they had over Clermont last week as they host Lorient. And PSG want to get their league form better as they be at home to Marseille. So go through the graphics and then you'll get to know what the other fixtures are. This way we'll drop anchor on today's show, talking about Sports Vision 360 on WTV. I want to thank us, Narume, for finding time to always be with us. We hope that you oblige us when we call on you to come again next time.
Yeah, definitely, I will be here.
At this point, I want to say a quick thank you to my entire production team who have done a wonderful job behind the scene. From Amina to Kefas to Sandra, all of you guys have done a good job. Thank you so much. I'm Donald Agbavobo. If you have enjoyed your time with us, let's do it again next time. Enjoy the rest of the day.